Hello everyone, welcome to Lucid Mains. In today's topic, we will look at India's internal security environment since the terror attacks in Mumbai. As we know, 2018 marks the 10th anniversary of the fatal attacks. Before we go into the details, let us first revisit the deadly event. Popularly known as the 26/11 attacks, the Mumbai attacks is considered to be a watershed in India's internal security environment. Popularly known as 26/11, the perpetrators targeted 6 major locations across Mumbai. These locations, such as the Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminal, Leopold Cafe, the Oberoi Hotel and the Taj, were chosen to inflict maximum damage and fatality. It was conducted by a 10-member team of the Pak-based terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba with illicit support from the Pak government. The assault, which began on the 26th of November 2008, ended on the 29th of November with the NSE operation code-named Operation Black Tornado at the Taj. The 4-day attack resulted in the death of 164 people and rendered 308 wounded. Ajmal Kasab, a Pakistani national, was the only terrorist caught alive. He was later hung to death following the legal procedures. Now, moving on. As we have mentioned, the attack was a watershed event. The Maharashtra government appointed a high-level inquiry committee under Home Secretary Ram Pradhan to inquire into these attacks. The committee identified various flaws in our internal security system. Along with these, some of the most important lessons we learned were, first of all, the lack of capability among our security agencies. For instance, IB and RAW failed to anticipate an attack of such an extent even days before that happened. Next in line, questions were raised on the quality of equipment such as bulletproof vests which were made available to the security personnel. For instance, one of the most famous anti-terrorist operative, Hemant Karkare, was shot dead even when he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Now next, the mission was carried out by various agencies such as the Mumbai Rapid Action Force, the NSG and the Marine Commandos, or popularly called the Marcos. However, there was a lack of designated command centers and any well-written plan created to counter such contingencies. Hence, there was a clear lack of coordination among the various agencies. Later, the committee pointed out that there needs to be a designated command and control center to strengthen India's anti-terrorist measures. Last but the most important fact was that the role of Pakistan's deep state in exporting terrorism to India. While mediation talks were going strong, the attacks proved that Pakistan has no intention in ensuring peace with India. Now, it has been 10 years since the attack. Now, let us look at the present situation. The threat from Pakistan has not receded in these 10 years. In fact, Pathankot and Uri attacks has only worsened the Indo-Pak relationship. Besides Pakistan, other strategic challenges have also come to the foray, especially in the maritime domain. China, for instance, through its self-proclaimed peaceful rise doctrine and checkbook diplomacy, has increased its stronghold over the Indian Ocean. Their ambitious Belt and Road Initiative and String of Pearls strategy is perceived as a threat to India's internal security as well as in her interest in the Indian Ocean. Learning its lessons from the attack, India has, however, begun to give more consideration towards blue water policy. Blue water policy refers to the strategy of being more powerful at the sea rather than building fortresses on land. Now, let us look at the various strategies that India has adopted since 2008. For easy understanding, let us broadly classify these measures into short-term and long-term measures. Talking about the short-term measures, among the first of the actions was the creation of a dedicated investigation agency named the NIA, or National Investigation Agency. Another measure was the National Counter-Terrorism Center. These were established as dedicated centers for handling terrorism-related cases and activities. Next in line was the establishment of a 3-tier coastal security management system. As can be seen from the infographics, the coastal zone is divided into 3. The inner seas and the inland water bodies are guarded by the coastal police. This includes the area that extends from the coastline to 12 nautical miles seawards. Following this zone, The area between 12 nautical miles and 200 nautical miles is managed by the Coast Guard. Beyond the 200-mile range, that is beyond the Exclusive Economic Zone or EEZ, the area is guarded by the Indian Navy. Another of these short-term measures was the upgradation of Intelligence Bureau's Multi-Agency Center or MAC. Now, as mentioned before, there was a lack of coordination among the various forces during 2611. So, the Multi-Agency Center was upgraded to a 24/7 operational capability center. Some of the other major changes that were introduced in the short term were the amendments to the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. These amendments were made in 2009 to provide for a quick arrest and interrogation of the terrorism suspects. Besides these, immediate measures were taken for the upgradation of equipments and improving the training facilities of the lower level agencies such as the local police. Because the local police are among the first to respond to a situation, there was an emergency need to improve their skills as well as their weaponry. Now, upgradation of their equipments and training facilities was made. Many of the local police stations today are equipped with automated rifles, machine guns, metal detectors and even grenade launchers. For this, states such as Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh have also increased their budgetary allocation for acquisition of arms and ammunition. In case of the Coast Guard, for another instance, the number of boats has been increased from 74 in 2008 to 134 in 2018. This has helped the Coast Guard to increase their presence, especially along the western coast. Indigenous fast action vehicles such as INS Tihayu and INS Tilanchang have been recently inducted into the Indian Coast Guard. This is expected to enhance Coast Guard's efficiency in managing the borders, especially because India lies very close to the piracy lanes. Besides these measures, some states have also initiated their own measures. This includes specialized training facilities for local police, communication facilities and GPS were made mandatory for fishermen, and dedicated anti-terrorism forces such as Force 1 of Maharashtra. Coming to the long-term measures, these measures are being put in place even today. The most important among these was the establishment of the NAT grid. The NAT grid or the National Intelligence Grid is an integrated intelligence grid. It connects various security agencies like the IB, RAW, CBI, etc. It is a tool to enhance our efficiency in early detection of threats as well as identify suspects at the earliest. It will use tools such as big data analytics for the same. Next in hand was our indigenization drive. Now, India has been pushing forward for indigenization of our arsenal. For this, we have initiated various measures such as the new Defense Procurement Scheme of 2018 and Make 2 initiative. Next in line, we began strengthening our ties with the neighborhood countries as well as our Southeast Asian compatriots. Strengthening this is done through various means such as the Neighborhood First Policy, Act East Policy, India playing an active role in the redevelopment of Afghanistan, Indian investments in Central Asia such as Chabahar Port, etc. In the international fora, India has been pushing for the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. It is a treaty proposed by India at the UN in 1996. It seeks to provide a binding set of rules and guidelines that criminalizes all forms of terrorism and seeks to reduce terrorist activities. Details of the CIT are provided in the file along with this video. Another measure that was adopted by India was the long-term data sharing agreement. For this, India has adopted various bilateral and multilateral agreements with countries such as the USA for real-time data sharing. Moving on, besides these long-term and short-term measures, some of the international developments in the past 10 years have become favorable to India's interests. This includes US cutting aid for Pakistan, talks of Indo-Pacific cooperation through initiatives like Quad, the recent success of anti-China government in Maldives, etc. These measures directly and indirectly helps India's interest in the Indian Ocean region. Moving on to the concerns part, even after 10 years, we have still faced a large set of concerns. If we look within our system, we can identify several issues with our security agencies. Various CAG reports have identified issues such as inter-force tussles, delays in project completion, shortage of arms and ammunition, vacancies in various posts, etc. For instance, the vacancies in the 6 armed forces of India is estimated to be around 50,000. Another instance is the understaffing. India has only 129 policemen for a million population. This is against the UN recommendation of 250 policemen for a million population. Looking beyond our borders, Pakistan continues to be an issue. This issue gets strengthened as the China-Pak nexus is growing stronger with initiatives like the China-Pak Economic Corridor. Also, the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism has been in deadlock for the past 2 decades. This has also reduced India's chances of bringing forth 2611 culprits like Hafiz Saeed, who has been reigning free in Pakistan. Besides these measures, some of the narrow geopolitical interests, such as US interests in the Pakistan, have also hindered India's interests regarding her internal security. Emergence of new extremist elements such as the IS and new means of attack such as the lone wolf attacks has opened new areas of concern in India's internal security. Now, to conclude, we can summarize that post-event developments can at best be termed as a mixed bag. While the short-term measures have already been in place, the long-term measures are still in the making. So, we can say that it is a partial success but not a complete success. Also, new variants of such terror, such as the remote control terrorism and lone wolf attacks, have been on the rise, and this poses a new area of threat. For instance, the terrorists may use drones for attacking critical infrastructure in India. And so far, we do not have a clear-cut drone policy. Another area of concern is the growth of cyberspace. Now, today's world, which is highly interconnected, cyberspace is assumed to be the next front of battle, that is the 5th front of battle. Hence, India needs to take proactive measures to ensure her safety in the cyber field. Measures such as the CERT-in and the National Cyber Control Center are appreciable measures that India has taken in this regard. To conclude, it is best that India adopt a multi-pronged strategy which relies on cooperation with countries as well as developing its own capacity. For cooperation, India may seek out its neighbors as well as countries such as the US and the European Union. Such a cooperation is essential to counter Pakistan exporting terrorism into Indian soil. When it comes to developing own capacity, India should realize that even after 10 years, the attitude of Pakistan has not changed. The culprits and masterminds behind the 2611 still reigns free in Pakistan. Hafiz Saeed is such an example. Hence, India needs to ensure that her own strategies are in place and should not rely on other countries for countering Pakistan. Pakistan has shown no retreat from supporting terrorist outfit. This is evident from the fact that even after 10 years, the tactical planners and ideological mentors of 2611 remain unpunished and reign free in Pakistan. This is aggravated by the narrow-minded interests of countries such as the US own Pakistan. Hence, India is mostly alone in dealing with Pakistan and Pak-supported extremism. So, India's second prong should be on enhancing her own capacities to best serve her national interests and to avoid another event such as 2611. Thank you.